Well, I'm excited to be back. Everything looks good over there. It's been 2 weeks since we put one out, but we're back here. And you know what we're back with? The Casey Hall podcast, driven by TR Group Alex City. Yes, no more just sponsored by, TR Group. But this is the Casey Hall podcast, driven by TR Group Alex City. We want to thank them for sponsoring. This is a jump for the podcast. We have our prime time sponsor, and we're thankful for them. And so if you are in the need for a car, you can check them out online. Even if you don't live in Alex City, check them out online. You can go to their website at trgroupalexcity.com. It's going to be linked. It's going to be on the screen. And go look for cars. You can ask for Michael. That's the man. And all the people working with him are great people. Check them out. TR Group Alex City. I'm excited to have them as a sponsor. No sponsorship here, just enjoying a Charlie cold brew. Boy, I had some people asking me about it, and it's the way to go. The Charlie cold brew. You gotta get the cold foam though. Don't jip out on the cold foam. Zach, get the cold foam. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. So, few things real quick. Last week was Easter Sunday. So I take 2 weeks off the podcast. We were trying to get some things planned out. Have some shows lined up, ready to go. Because this is now, it's the same production. But, the sponsorship coming in and stuff. We're about to really be pushing this podcast. So it would really help me if you were to like this, like if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to it, if you could rate the show, please give me more than 3 stars. Comment, share it. And even if on my YouTube channel, even if you just listen, if you could go to my YouTube channel and just subscribe, that would help me a lot because I'm at 32 and I'm trying to get to 100 so that I can have a custom URL. And then from there, the moon is the goal after that, or whatever the saying is. So help me out. Those are the ways you can help me. And we're just trying to get this thing going. We've got a great lineup going. Next week's episode is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to get to meet Michael from TR Group Alex City and Pastor Mark. It's going to be a great time. I think we're actually going to go next door to Coach's, eat some wings, and your boy's got to get the corn nuggets because I love corn nuggets. And then we're going to come back and record this thing. It's going to be a great time. So, what was I saying? Oh, last week was Easter Sunday. Man, if you're just listening, I just did like a shocked face. Easter Sunday, it's always good. But yes, I'm recording this on Monday. So yesterday, man, it was just so good at our church. And I know it's great at other churches as well, but I didn't get to experience those. I experienced Summit Church Valley, 103 Church Street, Valley, Alabama, 36854. It was so good. We had our friend Bruce came and sung with us. And just from the set list to the word that Pastor Mark. So the week before that, I preached. So he had a week off. So he hadn't preached in 2 weeks. Skipped Sunday and the next Sunday. He ain't preached in 2 weeks. And he comes out here on Easter and he's just on fire. Wearing those new Jordans that his sugar mama, a.k.a. his wife, bought him. Fresh, preaching, just laying this word down. And, man, it's just a great day. Like so many, Easter always has new faces. But there's so many people that because it's a small town, and you see them come in. It's just, you're excited to see them at church. And so it was just a lot of fun. And it's cool. I've talked to Pastor Mark about this. I've been in a situation where I've been in churches and like paid to be there, like working. And I've let it in my mind become a job. So it's like, I get there and I've got to make sure that everything's done. Here's my checklist. Boom, boom, did that. Or, it's like, oh, I forgot this. That was my job to do that. And then you quickly start not to enjoy Sundays anymore. Because then it's all week. It's leading up to this day of work when they're supposed to be, it's your time to get filled up and just be poured into and hear the word and worship. And it was hard to even worship because you're running around for me, I was trying to take pictures the whole time. I was looking for a great shot. I was making sure that everything on the computer, the slides was working. And so you're doing all that. But then you step into a season like I'm in now in life. I'm trying to make sure I'm not blurry. Actually, I think I need to come back. You step into a season like I am now in life, where I'm at a church that the pastor tells me, first things first is I want to make sure that you and your wife are always good, right? You and your family. That's what I'm here for, is to pastor you and your family. I could go in and not take a single photo. I could go in and not put a single song on the slide. And while, it'd be kind of confusing, like, why didn't I do that? It wouldn't matter, because that's not what it's about. He wants me and my family to be healthy, so that I'm in a great spot to be able to pour into people when they, in my case, the youth, when they come to me. And so I love being in this spot because it makes it more enjoyable. I look forward to Sundays. I'm able to do what I have to do throughout the week, and then on Sundays, not a thing there for me to be stressing about. Like, I'm able to. Oh man, we're still recording. Oh yeah, I'm able to just be a part, and that's what I love. Like, I stand there with my wife and worship. I'm able to worship. I'm able to just really dive in. I'm able to sit down and listen to the word. I'm not having to run around unless my daughter is wild. Then I go out in the lobby. But then I watch it on the screen. I make sure I'm always engaged. But I have a student from the youth ministry that he loves photos. And so I give him this camera, and he runs around and he takes pictures the whole time. And it's so fun to watch, because even during worship, like, he got this and I didn't. I never was able to do this, but he got it. Even during worship, he will take some photos, and the next thing you know, you look up there and he's just worshiping. Like, he's just standing there with a camera in his hand, other hand raised, worshiping. And like, even at his age, that's something I never not thought of, but like, I was never able to get into that spot where I could do my job plus be involved. And so it's so cool to see him do that, and it frees me up. I'm just back here in the back with my wife, just worshiping, sitting down, listening to the word, not stressing. Like, even when stuff would happen on the screen, like, I'm a 2 lines per slide kind of guy for songs. Even if something changes, like I put the songs in and they add something, and somebody throws up like 8 lines on the screen, normally I'd run back there and be like, no, fix that. But now I just kind of sit there and I'm like, what does it even matter? Like, does anybody else in this room really care that they just threw up a whole poem on the screen, like the whole thing, and you're sitting here trying to read 8 lines at a time? Like, I could probably change up everything about the song, the slides on Sunday, and nobody would even care. It's just me. And so I don't let that get in my way anymore. I just sit back, and it's so relaxing. But now throughout the week, if something goes wrong, we try to build upon it, fix it. But I don't let it bother me on Sundays no more. So Easter was such a great time. I think that's where I was going. Easter was such a great time to be able to sit back and be involved. And I hope you had a great Easter, because we celebrated that the King has risen. And so the week before that, let me share this with some of y'all. I preached. So every time I preach, Katie buys me a new shirt. And I guess she just wants me looking fresh up there. So this last week before Easter, I preached. And normally I go to Target or something like that, and I look around. But I've been eyeballing this shirt right here at Walmart. Every time I go in and I pass the men's section on my left and I'm going to the back, I see it. And there's a couple more like this. And I'm like, oh man, I think I want that shirt. And so we're getting ready. I was going to go to Target, spend like, $25 on a shirt. And so I was going, but I was like, wait a minute, let me just run to Walmart. And I go to Walmart, $12. And they got so many cool other styles. I'm going to have to go stock up on the whole collection. So don't be sleeping on Walmart. If you all are just listening, you're going to have to just go to my Instagram, caseyj.hall, and see the photo of me preaching so you can see the shirt. But don't be sleeping on Walmart. They're starting to get some style in that fashion in the clothes section. There's like, this is the, I don't know what the brand is, but they've got a whole little line over there. It's like, oh, those are some fashionable, cool clothes. They even had some hoodies a while back that I almost snagged up, but had a skull on it. Katie didn't want me to wear a skull, so Don't sleep on Walmart. So what I preached about, I'm going to share real quick what I preached about, and then I got two other things I want to jump into because this is a huge week because it is the start of Masters Week. If you don't know what that is, you must not like golf. But I'll get in that in a minute. Okay, so 2 weeks ago I preached, and it's funny. We're doing a series called "Lay It All Down," and I was getting ready to prepare. Like I was preparing this message, and it was actually gonna be. It was a Palm Sunday I preached, and so my message was gonna be about Palm Sunday and the entry into and how they're laying down and celebrating him as a king, but then how that turned into the same mouths that were shouting Hosanna then began to shout Barabbas a few days later. And so I did add that on the end. But it was Wednesday. And if you know anything about me, I like to be prepared. Like, I don't like to be like last minute, boom, here's a change. I'm like, because it stresses me out. A rule I have in my life is no 11th hour surprises. And so whether I'm working with someone, I'm helping somebody, like I will help you, I'll work with you, I'll design stuff for you, but no 11th hour surprises. Meaning, in the 11th hour, which will be the last minute, some people may say the 23rd hour, in the 11th hour, right before something's about to happen, don't throw a surprise on me or a change and expect me to just, do it. Unless you're my wife, then I will. But don't expect me just to be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, let me stress myself out and do that for you. That's when you work on the art of saying no. And so you got to have good communication up front so that there are no 11th hour surprises. Now, I understand there's cases where that change, you be like lenient on that, whatever. But when you work for somebody, and I've been in the spot before where it's like every week, then you're like, yo, we got to have a cutoff. This is the day. This is due. We're not doing that. So maybe that'd be a podcast, The Art of Saying No. So anyways, no 11th hour surprises. So on Wednesday, normally, so my when I prepare for a message, usually I'll have a few thoughts leading into the week. But then Monday and Tuesday, and even half of Wednesday is like I'm studying. Like I'm just looking up stuff. I have a notebook, and I'm just writing thoughts in it, like palm branches. What was the meaning of Palm Sunday? What was the meaning of this? What was it? Like I'm just throwing out thoughts. And then usually on the end of Wednesday plus Thursday and Friday, I write this message out. Like I start to lay it out, outline it, so that on Friday evening and Saturday evening, I can just study it and know it. Because here's something about me when I get there to speak, and it's crazy because I haven't spoke in years, and so not this past time, but the time before that when I preached, it was like the first time I preached in forever, and it's crazy how. Like, even when I was at other churches, I didn't preach a lot, but I was kind of in a rhythm, and I knew kind of, like, how to do this stuff and my pattern. And so now I'm trying to jump back into, like, who am I as a speaker? Like, how do I present stuff? How do I speak? But that's kind of what my week looks like when I do it. And so I was studying Monday, Tuesday, all about Palm Sunday. And then on Wednesday, I was up here at the office reading Deuteronomy. And so I've been reading through, like basically the whole first part of the Bible, so the Torah plus leading into it. And I love the story in Exodus because if you know me, I love the phrase "be still." It's very personal to me. It has a meaning in my life. When I was going through something, that's what I was reminded to do: just be still. And that's in Exodus where they're about to cross and the Egyptians are coming after them. And so I'm sitting here thinking about Exodus and then Leviticus and all this stuff, and I get to Deuteronomy, and it gets to chapter 1, the very beginning, verse 6, and Moses is sitting there talking to this new generation, and he says, you have stayed at this mountain long enough. Like what he's telling me is that we're right here, the Jordan's here, and the promised land is right there. Like we've been here long enough, it's time, and he's getting them ready to enter into the promised land. And if you know anything about this journey, it's said to have been around 11-day journey, like from where they started to the promised land. It should have been around 11 days, a little over a week to get there. But if you know this story, the 11-day journey ends up taking 40 years. It took 40 years to get where they were going. And so the whole first part of the book of the Bible, like the Torah, it's all about the detour, basically, the journey of what they're doing and how, Moses going up to Mount Sinai, hearing from God, coming down, and the people worshiping the golden calf as they waited. And then Moses going back up again. And so they build the Ark of the Covenant, and they go and it's the people continuing to repeat behavior. Like, they get corrected. They're like, yes, okay, we're locked on. And they go, and then they slowly slide back into old habits and behavior. And it slows them up again, and then they get corrected again. Moses gets mad. God's like, hey, I don't think this is going to work with this group of people. And Moses is like, please, 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 we can do it. And God's like, okay. But then they keep repeating this behavior over and over again. And so it ends up taking 11 days to 40 years. And so I preached this message. So anyway, no, I haven't preached yet. I was studying. I was reading, just my reading time. And on Wednesday, I felt like God was saying, okay, we're going to change up this whole message. That Palm Sunday, you could talk about that, but I want your message to be about this, because I believe, and this is kind of what I was feeling too, is that even for me, I've been in this season of just what's called the wilderness, is where they were. That's what it was called, the wilderness, which I should have went through quick, but I lived there for a while because of my own kind of like pity for myself and my own behavior. And what should have been just a quick journey for me, I just sat there and like sulked in it. And I allowed it to become something in my life that it shouldn't have become. So it was this trip through, Duncan ain't getting no free promo off me. This trip through the wilderness, and it's funny because, so Wednesday I started redoing the whole message, and I was stressing. And Thursday, and then Friday, and then Saturday, we ended up going and doing something with the boys, and so we're going all day, and I was freaking out because I didn't have time to study. And I get there on Sunday, and I preached this message about the wilderness and 11-day journey taking 40 years, and how if you don't repeat it, and I kind of added on to an illustration that Pastor Mark did the week before about having these nets and throwing them down. And I threw them down, but they're still hooked to you until you truly cut them off, and they'll keep sliding into your life and all this stuff. And so Sunday night, I was with Pastor Mark, and we were talking about, he's asking me about the message. He said, how'd you feel? And the first thing I told him was, I felt lost. He's like, what? And I said, I couldn't tell you from when I started that message to ended it how I got there. Like, I felt like the whole thing, I felt like I couldn't take 2 steps away from my computer because I didn't know and I was like running back to the computer because there's so many times I felt myself, I'd start talking about something I wanted to step away and get into, like feel free. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I don't know what's coming up next. And so I had to slide back into my computer. And so he was like, well, you couldn't really tell. And he kind of told me some parts where, I did look more comfortable than others. And I told him it was good for me to have a message like that because, one, I've never been in that spot. And so it helped me feel this feeling of God changing something up on me last minute. And then what's so cool is that I thought it made no sense, the whole message, if I'm being honest. Like, I felt lost. But that message, I had more people coming up to me, even right after service. A lady was like, hey, I was almost stayed home today, but God, I felt like I was supposed to come. And she came up and said, I'm so glad I did because that message meant so much to me. And then another lady was going live talking about, that message, what it meant and how they were going through. And it was just so cool to see how many people felt like they were in that wilderness. And it was like a season of God saying, okay, you've been here long enough. It's time to come out. And it was so neat for me to see that even at a time where I feel like I messed up, I didn't prepare enough, I didn't study enough, for God to still be like, it's okay, this message, I'm speaking through you, and my word never returns void, so I'm going to make it land on some hearts. And he did, and it was so cool. And so you could go watch it on Summit Church Valley's Facebook page. You may be as lost as I was, I don't know. Or maybe it hits home for you. Who knows? But you can go check that out, Summit Church Valley. And so it's always a great time. Preaching again, June 6th, June 13th. The pastor's going to Mexico. He goes every year. And so they're going to Mexico, and he's giving me back-to-back weeks to preach. So if you're in town, come hang out. June 6th, June 13th. I'll be preaching back-to-back. May have some Walmart shirts on. Who knows? Okay, Masters Week. This week is Masters Week. Oh, I'm so excited. Listen, I'm a huge golf fan. If you don't know that about me, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. Huge golf fan. Masters Week's coming up. Also, if you don't like golf, you can cut it off. Thanks for checking out. Thanks for watching. I'm about to give my prediction for the week. I'm a huge Masters fan. Also, Katie and I got married. I kind of planned this a little bit. the week of Masters, which it turned out a little different this year, but we got married on Saturday the Masters, and on the way to the honeymoon on Sunday, she had it on her phone. We were watching, and we watched Tiger win the 2019 Masters on the way to our honeymoon. The best week of my life ever. I just got married. I'm on my way to the honeymoon, and Tiger wins the Masters. And so it's such a great week. So I always love Masters week because it's Masters week, and it's my anniversary coming up, the 13th, April 13th. Here's what I think. You saw my man Spieth win it last week. Yesterday, which would be last week. The man's hot. He's been playing well the past, 3 tournaments, coming in the top 10, I think. I'd have to check that. Dude's been on fire. I think he has a great chance, but I also like my man DJ coming back again. I don't think he will repeat. I think it's too much pressure for him, but I like Spieth. And then Justin Thomas, I think he's due. Bryson, I'm not a fan of him. He's he's a cool guy, but kind of a clown to me. I don't know. Don't think he's got it. But my guy, Jordan Spieth, and Justin Thomas, they're kind of my picks. Ricky, you don't have a chance. I like you, Ricky. You don't have a chance. But that's what I'm thinking about Masters Week. I'm excited. This is about to be a great week. I'm going to be watching the Masters all week. You can follow me on Instagram, kcj.hall, and check that out. I am working on the shirt company I told you about. Like, I'm starting the process of the business, getting it all situated and getting it ready to go. We also have something else we're working on, a little surprise, Katie and I. And I can't wait to maybe get that going. We're waiting and we're praying and just kind of seeing what God shows us, because we don't want to step into something like this without God's saying, yeah, go for it. So we're waiting and praying. It may work out, it may not, but we're getting everything ready for the shirt. I can't wait. I think that's it for this week. Make sure you check us out at SH Creative Co. That's where I'm hanging out. Check us out. Listen, we're really diving back into our sermon series for churches. I have 3 I have to upload. Miles, if you're listening, help me get them uploaded. And free graphics. You can go there and get free graphics to share on your social media, especially if you're a church. Or for $19.99, $20, you can get a sermon series that comes with everything you need on the screen and your social media. It's a whole package. It's worth it. You can do it. You can check that out at churchmotive.com. Hey, I'm excited to be back. We're not missing another week. We're rolling this thing because we are on good wheels. We're speeding. We're flying, because this is the KC Hall podcast driven by TR Group Alex City. Check them out, trgroupalexcity.com. My wife's texting me. Surprised she hasn't FaceTimed me with the baby yet. So check them out, TR Group Alex City. Tell Michael that you were sent from here, and maybe boost a little bit of the ratings on the podcast. Hey, we love you guys. Get you a Charlie, and we'll see you next week.